I killed my brother with a single lie 15 years ago, and the night he came back from the dead, I realized the grave I dug for him was shallow enough for revenge to claw its way out. The cameras in my empty house caught it all, his silhouette slipping through the back door like a ghost with a grudge, my heart pounding as I whispered his name into the dark. Ethan, you bastard, you should have stayed buried. But here's the twist that still wakes me screaming. I didn't bury him to save myself. I did it to save the world from the monster he truly was, and now, as his shadow fills my screen, I wonder if I'm the villain for pulling the trigger on that deception. Rain hammered the roof of my split level in Oak Park, Illinois, like God himself was pounding out a confession I couldn't utter. It was 2010, and I was 32, knee-deep in the kind of life that looked perfect on Facebook but felt like quicksand under my boots, married to a high school sweetheart who was more accountant than adventurer, 2 kids who thought I hung the moon, and a job editing copy for the Chicago Tribune that paid just enough to keep the lights on. Sage Harlan, that's me, the reliable one, the fixer, the sister who always cleaned up Ethan's messes because that's what big sisters do. Or so I told myself. Ethan was 2 years younger, the golden boy with the easy grin, and the devil's luck. We grew up in the shadow of the L tracks in Logan Square, back when the neighborhood was all Irish bars and corner bodegas, before the yuppies gentrified it into yoga studios and overpriced tacos. Dad split when I was 10, Mom drank herself into an early grave by 15, so it was just us against the world. I got the straight A's, the scholarship to Northwestern. He got the rap sheet, starting with joyrides in stolen Buicks at 16. But I loved him fierce, the way you love a storm. You know it'll wreck you, but damn if it doesn't make you feel alive. That night in 2010, the storm outside mirrored the one brewing in our family's crumbling Victorian on the edge of town. Ethan had called me at midnight, voice slurred but urgent. Sage, I fucked up. Big time. Meet me at the old warehouse on Fulton now. I should have hung up, should have let the cops handle it, but blood's thicker than common sense. I kissed my husband, Tom, goodbye with a lie about a late deadline, bundled into my old Honda Civic, and drove through sheets of rain that blurred the taillights ahead like smeared regrets. The warehouse loomed like a concrete tomb under sodium lamps, its windows shattered eyes, staring into the void. Ethan was pacing by a rusted loading dock, soaked to the bone, a duffel bag at his feet that looked heavy with more than clothes. What the hell, F? I yelled over the downpour, slamming the car door. He grabbed my arm, eyes wild, pupils blown like he'd mainlined regret. It's Marcus, he gasped. Marcus Hale, our cousin, the family black sheep who'd clawed his way into the outfit. The Chicago mob's polite term for the syndicate that ran numbers, protection rackets, and the occasional disappearing act for snitches. Ethan spilled it in fragments, like a drunk reciting a confession. He'd been running small-time scams for Marcus, boosting cars, fencing knockoff Rolexes, but this time, he'd skimmed from a shipment of what he swore was just pills. Oxy, fentanyl precursors, the opioid wave that was already drowning the Midwest. But Marcus's crew didn't deal in just pills. They dealt in leverage, in bodies that washed up in the Chicago River with concrete sneakers. Ethan had taken 50 grand, thinking he could flip it on the street and pay back double. Instead, he'd triggered a war. Marcus's guys had already roughed him up, cracked ribs, a gash over his eye that wept blood like an accusation, and now they were coming for the whole family. They know about you, Sage. About Tom, the kids. I need you to help me vanish. Vanish. The word hung in the air, heavier than the rain. I thought of my daughter, Lily, 5 years old with her pigtails and gap-toothed smile, asking why Uncle Ethan never visited anymore. I thought of the life I'd built, brick by careful brick, on the ashes of our childhood chaos. How? I demanded, my voice cracking. He unzipped the duffel. Stacks of cash, a burner phone, and a Glock that gleamed wet and accusing. We stage it. You drive me to the river. We fake a jump. Body washes up. ID says it's me. Problem solved. Marcus thinks I'm fish food. You get a cut to start over if shit hits the fan. It was insane. Criminal. The kind of plan that gets you on Dateline as the cautionary tale. But as thunder cracked overhead, I saw the alternative. Ethan's blood on our doorstep, then Tom's, then mine. So I nodded. We drove to the locks near Navy Pier, the city lights fracturing on the black water like broken promises. He stripped to his boxers, tossed his clothes, waded with his wallet and keys into the drink. Tell them I was despondent, Sage. Debts, depression, the works. He hugged me then, fierce and fleeting, smelling of rain and fear. You're the only good thing I ever did. Then he slipped into the water, silent as a shadow, and I watched the ripples swallow him whole. But the lie started unraveling before his body, even surfaced. 2 days later, a fisherman hooked what the coroner ID'd as Ethan Harlan. Decomp made it a mess, but the tattoos matched, the dental records too. Suicide, they ruled it. Overdose of shame. The Trib ran a small obit. I wept at the funeral, a closed casket affair where I clutched Tom's hand and whispered apologies to ghosts. Marcus sent flowers and signed, with a card that read, "Rest easy, cousin." I pocketed the cash, buried it in coffee cans in the backyard like a guilty secret, and tried to move on. But guilt is a slow poison, seeping into your bones until every step aches. Years blurred. Lily started kindergarten. Tom climbed the ladder at his firm. I traded the Trib for freelance gigs from home, building a nest egg from Ethan's blood money. We moved to the Oak Park house in 2015, a McMansion with smart locks and Ring cameras because after the suicide, paranoia became my shadow. I'd check the feeds obsessively, zooming on squirrels like they were spies. Tom thought it was grief. I knew it was survival. Ethan haunted me in dreams, surfacing gasping, accusing. You let them think I jumped, Sage. You made me the coward. By 2020, the world was on fire. Pandemic lockdowns, riots in the streets, my marriage fraying like old denim. Tom worked remote, buried in spreadsheets. I homeschooled the kids, my laptop screen my only window to the chaos outside. That's when the first anomaly hit the cameras. A flicker at 2 a.m., a shadow too tall, too deliberate, crossing the lawn. I replayed it 100 times, heart jackhammering. Motion alert? Nothing. Just wind, I told myself. But deep down, in the pit where secrets fester, I knew. Ethan wasn't dead. He'd played me, vanished for real, and left me holding the corpse of his lie. The realization hit like a sucker punch during a Zoom call with my editor, her face pixelated as she droned about deadlines. My phone buzzed, a text from an unknown number. Miss me, sis? Check the attic. I bolted upstairs, kids napping below, and yanked down the ladder with trembling hands. Dust motes danced in the slanted light as I climbed into the crawlspace, the air thick with insulation and deceit. Tucked behind a rafter, a Polaroid of me at the river that night, my face pale, Ethan's arm around my shoulder mid-hug. On the back, in his scrawl, our little secret. Don't make me come home. I burned it in the sink that night, watching the flames lick the evidence while Tom snored oblivious in the next room. But the cameras kept lying. Shadows multiplied, a figure in the tree, a gloved hand testing the gate latch. Ethan was circling, testing my cage.
Why?
The cash was long spent on braces and college funds. Marcus was in Supermax by then, ratting out his crew for a reduced sentence. No, this was personal. The betrayal cut deeper than the river's chill. He'd faked his death, let me grieve a ghost, bear the whispers of crazy sister at family reunions. I'd carried his sin like a millstone, and now he wanted.
What?
Absolution? Or to drag me under with him. I didn't sleep for weeks. Installed more cams. Wise in the garage, Nest in the foyer, turning my home into a panopticon of paranoia. Lily noticed, her big eyes narrowing. Mommy, why do you stare at the TV all night? Is Uncle Ethan watching us? I forced a laugh, but it tasted like ash. Tom suggested therapy. I suggested he mind his own damn business. The tension coiled like a spring, every creak a footstep, every alert a heartbeat. Then, on a muggy August evening in 2025, 15 years to the day, I got the call that cracked the facade. It was Detective Ruiz from Chicago PD, Voice gravelly over the line. Mrs. Harlan? We pulled a floater from the Calumet River this morning. Dental records match your brother, Ethan.
But
It's not suicide. Gunshot to the back of the skull. Execution style. You wouldn't know anything about that, would you? My world tilted. Ethan, dead for real this time? The cameras screamed silent warnings as I hung up, rain starting again outside like applause for the encore. But as I scrolled the feeds, a new shadow bloomed in the kitchen cam. Not Ethan's lean frame, but broader, hooded, rifling through drawers. Not a ghost. A hunter. And in that moment, staring at the pixelated intruder, I knew the revenge I'd buried was exhuming itself, clawing toward me with teeth bared. The intruder didn't take much that night. Just my jewelry box, a few heirloom pieces from Mom's side, and a photo album from the shelf. But he left something worse. A single playing card on the counter. The Queen of Spades, Ace of Hearts tucked in its sleeve like a bloody wink. I knew that signature. Marcus Hale. Even from his cell in Tam's Supermax, the old snake had tentacles. Parole hearings be damned. He'd slithered out somehow.
or someone had done it for him.
Ethan?
No.
The body in the river said otherwise. I drove to the morgue the next morning, flashing my press badge like a shield, the sterile hum of fluorescence buzzing in my skull. The attendant led me to a drawer that slid out cold and accusing, a man in his late 30s, face bloated and pruned, but the jawline, the faint scar above the lip from a bar fight in '05. Ethan. Bullet hole neat as a period at the base of the skull. Who'd want him dead? The detective had asked over coffee that tasted like regret. Everyone I'd wanted to say. But instead, I muttered about old debts, family drama, the usual Harlan bullshit. Back home, the house felt like a trap snapping shut. Tom was at the office, kids at summer camp, blissful ignorance my only gift to them. I pored over the footage frame by frame, the intruder's build too stocky for Ethan, movements too practiced, like a pro casing a joint. Queen of Spades. Marcus's calling card from the old days, back when he'd run poker nights in the back of his Lincoln Park deli, fleecing marks while Ethan dealt the hands. Marcus, the cousin who'd mentored Ethan into the life, then branded him a thief when the skim went south. I'd thought faking the suicide had severed that tie, but blood money has a long memory. I called Ruiz that afternoon, voice steady as a lie. Any leads on my brother's killer? He grunted, papers shuffling. Off the record? Looks like outfit business. Your brother resurfaces after 15 years presumed dead. Next thing he's floating with a tag. You got any idea why he'd come back? I lied smooth, channeling every cop show I'd binged. He was always running from something. Maybe he got tired. But inside, the hook twisted. If Ethan was alive until recently, why stage the first death? Why haunt me with shadows and Polaroids? And who pulled the trigger to end the charade? The answer slunk in that evening, disguised as a pizza delivery to an address I hadn't ordered. The kid at the door, 18, acne-scarred, eyes darting, thrust the box at me with a mutter. Tips inside. I waited till he peeled out before opening it.
No pie.
Just a burner phone, screen cracked, and a note in block letters. Play me. Then burn it. My thumb hovered, then pressed. Ethan's voice crackled through, tinny and desperate, recorded God knows when. Sage, if you're hearing this, I'm gone for good this time. Marcus found me in Reno. 2 years ago, I thought I'd outrun him, but the skim. It was bigger than pills. It was witnesses.
Feds.
I took the fall for him, testified under a ghost name, got him locked up. But he bought his way out last month, parole board greased. He's coming for loose ends. You're the last one. The cameras. Use them. They're your eyes now. Forgive me? Nah, don't. Just survive. The phone died with a beep, and I torched it in the backyard fire pit, flames devouring plastic like my sanity. Survive. Easy for a dead man to say. Marcus out on parole? A quick search on my laptop confirmed it. Early release for good behavior. The article buried on page 12 of the Sun-Times. The man who'd peddled death in pill form, who'd orphaned half the South Side, walking free because money talks louder than justice. And me? The sister who'd covered for her brother's suicide, potentially obstructing an investigation if the feds ever connect its loose end. Queen of Spades. That night, the cameras lit up like Christmas. 1:17 a.m. Motion in the alley. Two figures. Hoodies. Low whispers. One pointing at my fence. I watched from the dark bedroom. Tom's snores a counterpoint to my pulse. They didn't breach, just tagged the gate with spray paint, a crude spade symbol, dripping like blood in the infrared glow. Message received. I didn't call the cops. Ruiz would ask questions, and questions lead to truths I'd buried deeper than Ethan's fake corpse. Instead, I texted the number from the pizza box's receipt, traced it to a burner shop in Pilsen, and got a reply. Want protection? Meet at the Blue Line stop, 5 a.m. Come alone. Dawn broke gray and unforgiving as I parked 2 blocks from the Kedzie stop. Thermos of black coffee, my only armor. The platform was empty save for a junkie nodding against a pole, but as the train rattled in, a woman stepped off, mid-40s, sharp bob, leather jacket over a blouse that screamed undercover fed. Sage Harlan, she said. No question mark. I nodded, throat dry. Agent Lena Voss, FBI. Ethan's ghost just pinged my radar. Walk with me. We strolled the cracked sidewalk, her stride efficient, mine wary. Voss laid it out like a bad hand. Ethan hadn't just skimmed cash, he'd skimmed evidence. USB drives full of Marcus's ledgers, names of dirty cops, politicians who'd snorted lines off the proceeds. In exchange for immunity, Ethan had flipped, testified anonymously in Marcus's trial, then vanished into witness protection. But the first suicide? That was Ethan's idea, to throw Marcus off before the deal. He dragged you in because he trusted you, Voss said, eyes scanning for tails. Big mistake. Marcus's crew ID'd the body as fake years ago. Dental records switched, easy buy. They've been watching you ever since, waiting for Ethan to surface. My laugh was bitter, echoing off chain-link fences. And now he's dead for real. You protect your assets better than that. Voss's jaw tightened. We lost him 3 days ago. Shooter was pro, silenced .22, no casings. But the card you found? That's Marcus flipping the script. He's not just hunting, he's rebuilding. Your house is ground zero. We parted at a coffee cart, her card burning in my pocket. Call if you see the queen. But as I drove home, windows down to air out the fierce sweat, I felt the flip. Ethan hadn't trusted me. He'd used me, a patsy to sell the suicide, then a beacon to draw fire when he resurfaced. The Polaroids, the shadows. Breadcrumbs to keep me paranoid, keep me from cracking under questioning. And Marcus? The cunning bastard who'd mentored us both, who'd whispered in Ethan's ear about family loyalty while plotting his downfall. Now free, he'd kill us all to erase the ledger. Home was a fortress of glass and wire, but the cams showed cracks, a lens smeared with mud, feed glitching like a bad signal from hell. I wiped it clean, installed motion lights that bathed the yard in harsh white, but sleep evaded me. Tom noticed the circles under my eyes, the way I jumped at doorbells. Sage, talk to me. This isn't grief anymore. I wanted to, God, I wanted to spill it all. The river, the duffel, the dead man's voice on a phone. But confession is a luxury for the innocent. Instead, I kissed him, tasted salt of unshed tears, and whispered, just work stress, babe. It'll pass. It didn't. 2 nights later, the real breach. Cams caught a figure scaling the fence at 3 a.m., lithe and deliberate, vanishing into the shadows before I could scream. No theft, no damage, just a whisper left on my pillow, slipped through the cracked window. Tick-tock, Sage. Secrets scream loudest in empty houses. My hand flew to the nightstand, fingers closing on the Glock I'd bought after Ethan's suicide, unregistered, loaded with questions. I chambered around, the click echoing like a vow. Revenge wasn't a choice anymore. It was the only light in the dark. But whose revenge? Ethan's, for dragging me into hell? Marcus's, for the betrayal that caged him? Or mine, for the life stolen in lies? As rain lashed the panes again, I stared at the screens, shadows dancing like accusations, and plotted my first move, A meeting with the devil I knew to end the game he started. The blue line rattled toward the loop like a vein pulsing with the city's underbelly, commuters oblivious to the war brewing in my lap. It was week 2 of the siege, cams hacked twice, feeds looping innocuous footage of the dog next door while shadows prowled unseen. Voss had gone radio silent, her card yielding only a voicemail. Lay low, Harlan. Feds are moving. Yeah, right. I'd seen enough true crime pods to know moving meant bureaucracy, not bullets. So I was taking the reins, heading to Statesville Correctional for a visit with the devil incarnate, Marcus Hale. Getting cleared took grease. 500 in an envelope to the front desk clerk, slipped with a smile and a sob story about family closure. The visiting room smelled of bleach and broken dreams, plexiglass dividing the damned from the desperate. Marcus shuffled in at 10 sharp, orange jumpsuit hanging loose on his paunch, but the eyes, shark black, unblinking, hadn't softened a day in 15 years. He picked up the phone, leaned in like we were old pals at a diner. Sage. Little Sage Harlan, all grown up. Ethan send you? Or are you finally ready to confess? His voice was velvet over razor wire, Chicago South Side drawl laced with menace. I gripped the receiver, knuckles white. Ethan's dead, Marcus.
For real this time.
River gave him back. A pause, then his chuckle rumbled low. That's so? Funny, my sources say the fish spat out a ringer. Dental work's cheap these days. He leaned closer, breath fogging the glass. But you're the original sin, ain't ya? Covering for his dip in the drink back when. Obstruction, Sage. 5 to 10 easy. Threats from a con? Predictable. But Marcus wasn't bluffing. He never did. What do you want? I hissed, glancing at the guard's bored scan of the room. His smile widened, teeth yellowed sentinels.
Truth.
Ethan didn't just skim cash, he skimmed my soul. Those drives? Names, dates, the works. Feds buried him deep, but I know he fed you crumbs. Where's the rest?
Lies.
Ethan's message hadn't mentioned drives beyond the one he turned over. But Marcus's eyes bored in, hunting the bluff. I don't have shit. I lied back, voice steady. He used me, same as you. Faked it all, left me the widow. Marcus's laugh barked sharp. Widow?
Goo.
But blood don't lie, cousin. You're Harlan's, liars to the core. Tell you what, I walk free next month, full pardon. Governor's a soft touch. You deliver the drives, I call off the dogs. Your pretty house stays standing. Tom keeps his 401k. Kids their soccer dreams. The flip came swift, his tone shifting from predator to penitent. Hell, Sage, we're family. Ethan's gone, but I can fix this. Make you whole. It was the oldest play, carrot after the stick, loyalty twisted into leverage. Controversial as hell. Forgive the monster who peddled poison, or fight and risk the fallout. I hung up without a word, heart slamming as guards escorted him away. But the seed was planted. On the drive home, traffic clotting like clots in an artery, I waited. Marcus free meant Ethan avenged, but at what cost? The man had drowned neighborhoods in opioids, turned brothers against brothers for a cut. Yet here he was, offering peace like a handshake from hell. And me, the betrayer who'd lied to cops, to family, to myself. No one clean in this mirror maze. The house greeted me with silence, cams greenlit and mocking. Tom was grilling burgers in the backyard, Lily chasing fireflies with her brother, Max. Normalcy I'd kill to preserve. I joined them, forcing smiles over sesame buns, but the queen haunted the margins, a spade scratched into the picnic table, faint but deliberate. Marcus's crew, marking territory. That night, as Tom made love to me like it was absolution, I stared at the ceiling fan's whirl, plotting. Voss's card burned in my wallet. Maybe the feds had the drives, Ethan's final fuck you. But calling meant exposure, meant dragging Tom into the docket. Dawn brought decision. I slipped out pre-coffee, drove to a storage unit in Cicero, Ethan's emergency stash, key hidden in a fake rock since the river night. Inside, boxes of junk, a life in limbo. Buried under faded concert tees, a thumb drive, matte black, labeled insurance. My hands shook as I plugged it into my laptop in the car, engine idling like my nerves. Files bloomed, PDFs of ledgers, audio of Marcus strong-arming a dealer. Pay up or your boys, next hit's permanent. Names jumped. A alderman, a judge. Even Ruiz's partner from back in the day. Ethan's voiceover, calm as a newscast. This is the endgame, Sage. If I go down, they all do. Jackpot. Or apocalypse. I copied it to a cloud dead drop, emailed Voss anonymously. Loose end tied. Check attachments. Stay away from Oak Park. Then deleted, wiped the drive with a magnet from the unit's toolbox. Old school, but effective. Marcus would never see it. The feds would bury him deeper than Supermax. But as I sped home, a tail emerged in the rearview. Black SUV, tinted windows, hugging my bumper on the Eisenhower. I lost them in a snarl of semis, heart in my throat, but the message lingered. Game's on. Tom confronted me that afternoon, arms crossed in the kitchen, flour dusted from bread he baked to de-stress. Sage, the guns, the locks. Who are you turning into? His eyes, soft brown, pleaded. I broke then, partial truth spilling. Family shit, Tom. Ethan's mess catching up. It's old, but it's mine to fix. He pulled me close, whispering, we fix it together. God, I wanted to believe him. But Harlan blood runs toxic. Sharing the load just poisons the well. Voss called at dusk, voice clipped. Received your gift. Bold move. Marcus's hearing scrapped. Evidence leak, they're saying. But you painted a target on your back. No thanks, just facts. What now? I demanded.
Now?
You run. Or you flip like your brother. Flip. The word echoed Marcus's offer. A devil's duet.
Run?
With what? Tom's savings, the kids' futures.
No.
I hung up, stared at the cams. Quiet for now. But the empty house whispered, secrets clawing at the walls. That night, the breach came violent. 11:42 p.m., glass shattering in the garage cam, two figures in balaclavas swarming the workbench. I woke Tom with a shove. Intruders downstairs now. We herded the kids to the master bath, barricaded with a vanity, Glock in my fist as sirens wailed distant. Footsteps thudded below, drawers yanking, cabinets crashing, then a shout. Clear? She's not here. Not theft. Search. For the drive? But I'd burn that bridge. Cops swarmed post-alarm, Ruiz leading, eyes narrowing at me. Again, Mrs. Harlan? This your brother's ghost. I played the widow, tears on cue. Just scared, detective. Old wounds. He bought it or pretended to, but his parting shot lingered. Wounds don't shoot back. As taillights faded, Tom held me, but his grip was tentative, trust fraying. The house, once sanctuary, now screamed. Empty of peace, full of phantoms. Marcus's flip had begun. Offer rejected, he'd escalate. But so would I. Dawn found me in the basement, laptop open to dark web forums, hiring a fixer. Ex-merc, $50 an hour. Eyes-only surveillance on the SUV's plates. Revenge wasn't vengeance anymore. It was chess, Black Queen against the house. And as the first report pinged, SUV registered to a shell corp in Marcus's old crew, I moved my first pawn. Anonymous tip to the Sun-Times, leaking Marcus's pardon docs. Let the press bay for blood. Let the city turn on him. But the cams caught the counter, a lone figure at midnight, not breaching, just standing in the rain, face obscured but posture familiar, shoulders slumped, hands empty. Not Marcus's thug. Ethan? No, dead men don't mourn. Or do they? The twists nod. If the body was a ringer, who swam the river that night? Whose dental records matched? The house's silence deepened, secrets piling like debt, and I realized, too late, that betrayal's blade cuts both ways. The leak hit the Sun-Times like a Molotov front page. Mobster's sweetheart deal. Pardon poison peddler? By noon, Marcus's face was meme fodder, talking heads on CNN decrying soft-on-crime corruption. Protests sparked outside the governor's mansion, South Side moms chaining themselves to gates, chanting names of kids lost to his product. I watched from my kitchen, coffee cooling untouched, a grim satisfaction twisting in my gut. Collateral damage to Ethan's war, but justice tastes sweet when it's stolen. Tom saw the byline, anonymous source, but his reporter's nose twitched. "You know something about this?" he asked over breakfast, kids slurping cereal oblivious. I met his gaze, weighing full disclosure against the fallout. Old family ties, Tom. Nothing that touches us. Lies layered like varnish, cracking under scrutiny. He nodded, but the fork paused mid-bite, trust's fracture line widening. That afternoon, he worked late, again mumbling about audits. Or was it alibis? The fixer pinged at twilight. SUV traced to Gino Rossi, Marcus's nephew, low-level enforcer. Spotted scoping your block twice. Want neutralization. Neutralization. The word hung clinical, but my stomach roiled. Gino, kid cousin, barely 20 when Ethan skimmed, now 35 with a rap for assault. Family, again, Harlans and Hales, a toxic braid. Eyes only, I typed back. No moves. $50 bought peace of mind, or the illusion thereof. Voss surfaced uninvited that evening, rapping on the door as fireflies winked in the yard. She looked road-worn, jacket rumpled, a styrofoam cup steaming in her fist. "Your leak's a circus." Marcus is raging, called his lawyer from lockup, threatening holy hell. We sat on the porch swing, creaking under unspoken weights, the cam's red lights winking like voyeurs. "Ethan trusted you with the drop," she said finally, sipping sludge. "Why'd he fake the first death? Pull you in blind?" I laughed hollow. "Trust? He used me as bait. Made me the grieving sister while he played ghost." Voss's eyes softened fractionally, cop empathy, rare as rain in July. "Or protected you. Marcus knew you two were tight. Faking it split the scent." Protected. The word stung, reframing Ethan's hug at the river as shield, not shackle. But protection's a thin line from prison. And the ringer? I pressed. "Who took the dive for him?" Her shrug was cryptic. "Double some junkie Ethan paid off the books." Happened fast after the testimony. Marcus's crew was closing in. Junkie. A nobody, drowned for a dead man's lie. Controversy coiled. Ethan's sacrifice noble or negligent? Savior or selfish? Voss leaned in, voice low. "Marcus flips again tomorrow. Press conference. Playing victim. Wrongly accused. All that jazz. You testify. We nail him permanent. No pardon, no parola."
Testify.
The word detonated. Public face to the family's filth, dragging Tom, the kids into headlines. Mob sister spills. Lily's school whispers, Max's playground taunts. And, if I don't? Voss's smile was wry. He walks, and your porch gets a visitor. Gino's not subtle. Checkmate. I sent her away with coffee and a maybe, but sleep fled as cams flickered. Gino's SUV idling at the corner, headlights off, a cigarette glow like a fuse. Dawn broke with a bang, literal. Front door splintered, Gino and a goon bursting in, masks askew, pistols drawn. Tom yelled from upstairs, kids screaming muffled. I was in the kitchen, Glock under the sink, but instinct kicked. I grabbed the butcher knife instead, heart thunder. "Where's the drive, bitch?" Gino snarled, acne scars livid under the mask. Family resemblance hit like nausea, same jaw as Marcus, same snarl as Ethan in rage. "Burned it." I lied, blade steady. "Feds have the rest." He lunged. I sidestepped, knife slashing air, but the goon clipped my shoulder, fist not gun, sending me sprawling. Chaos erupted, Tom barreling down, baseball bat from the hall closet swinging wild. "Get out," he roared, connecting with the goon's knee in a crack of bone. Gino wheeled, shot wild, plaster exploding inches from my head, then bolted as sirens wailed close. The goon crawled after, cursing in Italian. Cops swarmed again, Ruiz front and center, cuffing the wounded thug while EMTs patched my bruise. Tom held Lily, rocking her as she sobbed, Max wide-eyed beside. "Jesus, Sage," Tom whispered later, In the ER waiting room, ice on his knuckles. Who the fuck are these people? The dam cracked. I spilled it all. The river, the fake death, Ethan's flip, Marcus's grudge. Tom's face cycled shock to fury to fracture. 15 years? You carried this alone. Hurt laced his words, betrayal's echo. I thought we were partners.
We?
The pronoun wounded deeper than Gino's fist. Ruiz pulled me aside post-statement, eyes sharp. This ties to your brother's floater. Want protection. Protection. Voss's word, Marcus's lure. I nodded numb, but inside, the flip crystallized. No more Patsy. Full disclosure, I said. I'll testify. He grunted approval, but his parting glance lingered. Pity? Suspicion? Cops protect their own, but Harlan's are poison ivy in the badge. Home was yellow tape and shattered glass, a crime scene husk. The insurance adjuster came next day, tutaying over estimates, but Tom's silence screamed louder. We bunked at a motel off Harlem, neon vacancy, thin walls thumping with neighbors' fights, while glaziers fixed the facade. I need space, Tom said over takeout lo mein. Kids asleep in the king bed.
This.
It's too much.
Space.
Code for fracture. I nodded, throat tight, watching him pack a go bag for his brother's couch. Betrayal's ripple. Ethan's lie had sunk my marriage, collateral in his crusade. Voss met me at a diner in Berwyn 2 days later, formica sticky, hash browns congealing. Testimonies set, grand jury sealed. Marcus's conference bombed. Press tore him new. But he's flipping hard, claiming Ethan's the rat. You're the accomplice. Accomplice. The word smeared, turning protector to perpetrator. And the ringer? I pressed, coffee bitter. Voss hesitated, then slid a photo across. The body from 2010, pre-autopsy. Not Ethan. Gino's father. Uncle Vito, Marcus's brother, eyes closed in eternal surprise. Ethan paid him to dive, switched records. Vito drowned for real. Heart gave out in the current. Family tie, blood for blood.
Twist got punched.
Uncle Vito, the jovial drunk at holidays, fish food to sell the fake. Ethan's cunning flipped monstrous. Sacrifice kin for cover. Controversial calculus. Who's the villain, the flipper or the faked? Marcus knows, Voss added. That's why Gino's gunning. Avenging his pop. The board tilted. My revenge now fratricide by proxy. I drove to the motel numb, Cam's app pinging alerts. False positives in the empty house. But a new message waited from the fixer's burner. Target acquired. Gino holed up in Bridgeport. Meeting crew tonight. Green light. My thumb hovered. Neutralize the nephew. And the threat, clean, controversial.
No courts, no cuffs.
But Vito's face haunted, a drowned ghost in the rain-streaked windshield. Family. The word mocked. Tom called at midnight, voice slurred. Whiskey, not sleep. I get it, Sage. The lies. But the kids? They need normal. Normal died in the river. Come home, I begged. We'll fight together. Silence stretched then. Maybe. After the dust.
Dust.
Ethan's ashes, scattered in deceit. Decision crystallized under fluorescent buzz. I texted the fixer, stand down. No more blood on Harlan hands. Instead, I drove to Bridgeport alone, Glock tucked in my waistband, parking 2 blocks from the meet. A dingy social club, neon closed, flickering. Through the window slit, Gino paced, Marcus on speakerphone, voice tinny. Find the bitch, end it. For Vito. Heart twisted. Vengeance's mirror. My own face staring back. I slipped in the alley, tossed a rock at the dumpster. Clang echoing. Footsteps pounded. Gino burst out, gun drawn. Who's there? I stepped from shadow. Hands up, knife sheathed in my boot if needed. Me, nephew. Let's end this. His eyes widened, mask of rage cracking to recognition. Sage? You crazy cunt, but I cut in, voice steel. Vito didn't die for nothing. Ethan's dead, drive's gone. Walk away, or the feds get your ledgers too. Bluff. Half. Gino's gun wavered, family tie tugging. Uncle says you're poison.
Flip.
His finger tightened. Mine itched for the Glock. Rain started, pattering like Mercy's delay. We're all poison, I said. But blood's thicker. Call it even for Vito. Seconds stretched eternal. Then his gun dropped. Fuck Marcus. Fuck all. He vanished into the night, truce tenuous as mist. Back at the motel, Voss's text glowed. Jury's in, Marcus indicted.
No bail.
Victory, Pyrrhic. But the house cams pinged live. Tom, letting himself in, sweeping glass with a broom. Home. Or what's left. Yet as I sped back, headlights cutting dark, a final shadow bloomed in the feed. Not intruder, but silhouette familiar. Lean, deliberate, slipping through the back door. Not dead. Not ringer.
Ethan.
The graves lie deepest cut. The drive to Oak Park blurred into frenzy, wipers slapping rain like accusations, my civic hydroplaning on faith alone. Ethan alive? The cams lied steady. Him in the kitchen now, rifling cabinets, back to the lens, alive as sin. Heart hammered gospel. The river ringer Vito, the floater a double for the double, layers of deceit peeled back to bone.
Why?
To what end? The empty house wasn't screaming secrets, it was vomiting them, and I was the midwife to the mess. I pulled into the drive silent, lights off, Glock heavy in my purse. Tom's truck sat curbside, reconciliation's beacon, or trap. No time. I slipped through the side gate, rain soaking me to scripture, creeping to the kitchen window. There, Ethan, flesh and blood, pouring whiskey for my stash, face gaunt but grinning at ghosts. 15 years etched lines around his eyes, stubble silvered, but the swagger, devil-may-care, intact. He toasted the empty room. To loose ends, sage. Finally. Door creaked under my push. He didn't flinch, just turned slow, glass midway to lips.
Cease.
Took you long enough. No shock, no flight, just weary welcome, like we'd parted over coffee, not corpses. I leveled the Glock, rain dripping from my hair like tears. The river. The floater. All of it lies. My voice cracked, Betrayal's chorus. He set the glass down deliberate, hands open, surrender or stall. Necessary evils, sage. Vito volunteered. Owed me from a bad debt. The second body? A mark who crossed the wrong guy.
Clean slate. Clean.
The word mocked, stained red. You let me grieve. Let Marcus hunt me. For what? Your immunity. Fury boiled, spilling hot. I bore it all. Guilt, whispers, the guns in my nightstand.
Tom almost left.
The kids, God, Ethan, they're terrified. His eyes flickered. Regret? Calculation? Marcus had to believe I was gone. You sold it perfect. The tears at the funeral, the obit spin. Protected you too. He sniffed around, but the sister act held. Protected. Voss's echo, twisted. I advanced, barrel steady. And now? You waltz in after Gino's raid, after the indictments? What? Claim the spoils. Ethan's laugh was ragged, leaning against the counter like a penitent at confessional. Spoils? Marcus is done. Your leak sealed it.
Feds owe you, Sage.
Witness protection for 4, easy.
4.
Tom kids me and him? The audacity ignited. You think I'll run with you? After the Polaroids, the shadows, your fucking games? He straightened, flip swift. Games kept you sharp. Without M, you'd be river fodder like Vito. I'm the villain? Fine. But you're alive because of me. Villain. The label stuck, mirror to my soul. I'd leaked, lied, nearly knifed Gino, hands as bloodied as his. Rain thundered approval, cams capturing our standoff like a docudrama gone wrong. Why come back? I demanded, finger-itching trigger.
Ego.
Absolution. His gaze dropped, mass cracking. Cancer.
6 months, doc says.
Pancreatic, eats you from inside. Wanted to see the house one last time.
You.
Apologize, maybe. Cancer. The twist landed soft, humanizing the monster. Ethan's hand trembled reaching for the whiskey. I saw it then. The The gauntness not age, but atrophy. Death's approach, ironic encore. Bullshit, I whispered, but doubt crept. You faked death once. What's stopping round two? He shrugged, wry. This time it's real. No doubles left. Pause, heavy. Shoot me, Sage. End the cycle. Or don't. But forgive?
Nah. Just.
Remember I loved you fierce.
Love.
The word fractured everything. Childhood forts under L tracks. Shared smokes behind mom's grave. The river hugs ghost. No clean heroes here. Ethan's flips, from thief to snitch to specter, mirrored mine, from fixer to avenger to
What?
executioner? The gun wavered, rain's rhythm my pulse. Controversial crux. Mercy for the betrayer, or justice for the betrayed. Readers would split, pity the dying brother, or damn the deceit that destroyed lives. Footsteps upstairs, Tom, stirring. Ethan's eyes flicked ceiling-ward.
Go.
Tell him the truth, or your version. But the cams, they saw it all.
Buy anything.
He drained the glass, set it clinking. I backed out, Glock lowering, rain swallowing my retreat to the car. Sirens wailed distant Ruiz? Voss. But I peeled out, leaving Ethan to his toast. Dawn found me at the river. Same locks, water black as memory. I chucked the gun in. Plunk, ripples fading like regrets. Home buzzed frantic. Tom frantic. Where were you? Kids clinging. Voss's text. Marcus flipped. Full confession. Case closed.
Closed.
But mine yawned open. Ethan's body washed up 2 days later, suicide note in his pocket. Tired of running. Love, E. Coroner ruled drowning, whiskey, and regret. Cancer confirmed post-mortem. Tom held me at the real funeral. Open casket this time. Face peaceful. We'll rebuild, he murmured. We did. Therapy, family counseling, the house rewired sans cams, trust's tentative thread. But nights, when rain drums the roof, I hear the empty house scream. Was it suicide, or my unspoken bullet? Ethan's last flip. Martyr or manipulator? Marcus rots in ADX Florence, spilling beans for life. Gino vanished, maybe flipped too.
Me?
Sage Harlan, survivor of secrets, haunted by what the cameras captured. A sister choosing life over legacy. But at what cost? The twist lingers, debates ember. In America's grind, mob shadows, opioid ghosts, family fractures, who's right? The betrayed who forgives, or the betrayer who dies unshot. No tidy bows, just the river's murmur. Blood washes clean, but stains eternal. And in my quiet Oak Park life, rebuilt on fault lines, I wonder, would I pull the trigger now? Hell yes. Or maybe not. That's the haunt that keeps me up, staring at walls that whisper back.